Hello, guys, and welcome to a new episode of Comic Book Weekly. And we are here, really excited because we just launched our Kickstarter for this podcast, which we're going to talk a bit more as the show goes on. But let's introduce everybody. Mike, what is up?
Nothing much. Just happy to be here today, and we got a lot of great stuff to talk about. So I'm totally excited about it.
And how's it going, Brant?
Yeah, I'm doing well as I'm well as well. Yeah, that's great. I'm doing well also. Yeah, and I'm excited because it's like you said, our launch is going well, and we got some exciting stuff to talk about. So.
We already have some questions in the comments about our new name. So
Yes.
Is it a bug? It's not. So last week we actually had a commenter ask us, like, who are you guys? And it took us a little longer than it should have to explain it. And we kind of realized, wait, why are we Comic Frontline? Like, yes, that's always been our brand.
Yeah, we talked about it
right after.
Yeah, now we are Comic Book Weekly because it made more sense because that's really what we do on the channel. We still have the website, and that's Comic Frontline. We still do panels on the website. We still do our best of the year. But for the podcast and for the YouTube channel, we weren't doing other stuff. So it made more sense to name it Comic Book Weekly. And that's where we're at. So it's the same thing, guys. We're doing the same stuff. It's just a new logo and it's a new name, but it's the same great content.
Yeah, and all our social media is still at Comic Frontline. So you can find us there and everything. But like Kat said, it's all we do on the channel anymore. So, it just made sense.
And we have a lot of people watching, so thank you guys. But we're going to get into some news here. So first up, we have the Walking Dead trailer came out. I actually have not had a chance to look at this. But Mike, I don't think you're caught up. I don't think anyone here is caught up.
No, are you? You watched the whole thing, right?
Oh, man.
Yeah. I've watched the whole thing.
He said his family was watching it, so he wound up getting back into it, which is kind of funny.
Yeah. It was my father-in-law was watching it, and I was like, oh, okay. And I was going to get spoiled, so I started catching up, and I ended up catching up. But yeah, I watched the trailer, and it's cool. Maggie wasn't really in last season, except for like a couple of mentions. She's back. And it seems like a lot of things have changed, and so I'm excited to see how they wrap this up.
Yeah, I saw the trailer, and so obviously I knew what story arc they were going to. It's basically the last story arc in the comic book with the Commonwealth, because you got to see the people dressed like almost like stormtroopers.
So yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Why are there stormtroopers in The Walking Dead? Yeah,
yeah. So you're gonna see that you're gonna come across the Commonwealth. So it's literally the last place that they go to before the comic book series ends. And,
okay, so
yeah, go ahead,
Mike. I was just gonna say I'm excited about that because I haven't finished the comic yet, so I don't know about the storyline. So it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's not a bad storyline. However, it's The Walking Dead, and at that point, it's kind of repetitive. So you're kind of going to see what you get at here, but it's still interesting, though. There's some good characters in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Star Wars zombies. That's right.
That's The Walking Dead's new spinoff.
Yep.
All right, going into some comic news. That was all the media news we were going to discuss, but. First up is more something that other sites we're seeing on the solicits and just something to speak upon is Deadpool ending. It hasn't been on the solicit for like 2 or 3 months. No real news about it. There's no confirmation that it's been canceled, and especially with Marvel's weird solicits going on because of COVID. I don't know if that means, again, it's been canceled, but that'd be strange. But also kind of makes sense because Kelly Thompson's doing so many different projects. Maybe they're just going to get a new writer for that book. Curious, even though I'm not reading it.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it is. It's probably just one of those end it and relaunch it, with a new direction. He's been like the king of this Monster Island for a while, and I don't know how well that's doing. I'm not reading it. But, yeah, I haven't really heard much about Deadpool in a while, so, maybe they just need something fresh.
Yeah, I did not like this version of Deadpool. Like he's the king of monsters. I read the first 2 issues of it, and it's very, I don't know. I just didn't like it. It's just not Deadpool to me at all. Even though it's like Deadpool is crazy and wacky to begin with, I think he can only be king of monsters for so long. So I don't know. I'm happy to see it, and I just want to see a different direction, maybe with the character, and just like again, I'm not a fan of Bocciolo's artwork, and I don't know if he's still doing it, but it didn't fit the book for me either.
Yeah, I think I'm the only one on this show that likes his art.
I'm pretty sure I don't.
Yeah.
So
I know Chris didn't either, so it's like, yeah, I think I was the only one.
yeah, it's just it's all subjective, so it's just not my particular style.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the next thing, which is the Guardians of the Galaxy gets a new lineup. So I believe it's still Alan Wing who's writing it. Just kind of trying to freshen up the Guardians of the Galaxy, which I feel like for a premier writer like Alan Wing, there hasn't been a lot of talk about that book.
I haven't read it since Donny Cates left it. I think actually I did read an issue or 2, and I didn't like the direction that it was going in. However, I forgot who the new team was, but the new team, you might gonna want to read it, Kat, because I think it has Wiccan in it, and I'm trying to think who else was in it.
Let me look so we could.
Yeah, because the article did say, I forgot, but I remember I was like, ooh, Kat might want to read this because it has a couple characters that she likes in it, and they're going to more of a old school look as well.
Yeah, it looks like it's Nova, Star-Lord, Gamora, Wiccan, Hulking, and Groot. I am definitely interested in Wiccan and Hulking for sure. I just don't. I'll have to see what people are saying about it first, though, just because again, the book has not been on my radar at all.
Hey guys, can I change topic for a second? I got something to share.
Go for it.
If I can get share screen to work. This just got sent to me, so it's colored.
Ooh, that looks awesome. So
yeah.
to describe what this is actually our print for the Kickstarter that we just launched today, which we're going to go into even more detail after the news. And you guys can get that print for only $15 signed by all 3 of us. So
yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, this is the first time we've seen it colored. So he literally just sent it to me. So I had to share it right now. So that's awesome.
I really love the colors in that.
Yeah.
Either it's dawn or it's starting to get dark. I don't know.
Yeah,
but I love that vibe.
Yeah, it's almost like we've been sitting there reading comics all night long.
Right.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. I love it.
Getting ready for the show, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And kind of the funny thing is like, how cool would that be if we were actually together like that?
Yeah.
Hopefully one day. That'd be amazing. Right now it's only in the art, but maybe it'll come true depending how well this Kickstarter does. All right, let's see if we got any more. Oh, Sean B, Kickstarter. Can't wait for my coffee mug. Thank you, Sean, for getting a coffee mug. That was awesome. We have add-ons, so if you guys like the show, you guys can get a shirt. You guys can get a hat. So that's pretty cool. So thank you guys, and yeah, thanks for all the cool comments here. We got nice coloring from Nick. Radio Vid says it's very orange. I like that.
That's a good contrast for our blue.
That's true. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
All right, going into more news, we're definitely going to talk all about the Kickstarter, which we're super excited for. But we're gonna zoom through the news. So the next thing is Boom Studios has acquired the rights to Magic the Gathering. I originally didn't have thoughts because I don't, read Magic. Read or play or whatever Magic the Gathering. I don't know much about it. It's not really my vibe, but I think this is really cool for Boom, just like acquiring Power Rangers. I'm sure it's going to do extremely well for them.
Yeah, I think it's cool too. I never read, I think IDW had the license before, and I never read it. My brother was a big Magic player, and so was Lisa's brother. But the same reason that you said is the reason I want to talk about it, is because it's really cool that Boom just keeps growing and growing, and it's just another license that they can put their spin on, and they've done really well with the properties like Power Rangers and WWE and various other properties that they've had. So I'm excited to see what they might do with it.
I guess when you look at it, the possibilities are endless because there's so many cards, there's so many things, there's so many characters. Like, I guess you can do anything with it.
Yeah.
And again, such a big franchise, and Boom has been able to reinvent franchises really well and make them different. So that's really cool and good for Boom.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to let's see what we're going to talk about. Marvel. I'm sorry. Major creators unite for Image Comics horror anthology. I don't know if that's a name or not. But yeah, it's an anthology with some heavy hitters: Chip Zdarsky, Kelly Thompson, Ed Brisson, Jeff Lemire, and the art looks fantastic for this book. I'm a huge horror fan, so I'm excited for it. But honestly, also just for like the names, has Kelly Thompson done a creator-owned book? Like, she's done like work for hire independent books. But I don't know if she's done creator-owned stuff. So I'm pretty excited for this.
I don't know. That's I'm not a huge horror guy, so it's like I wasn't as excited about this, but like you said, the names involved are cool, and I'll check it out just for that.
Yeah, I'll check it out just because I love horror, and I love to check out different types of horror books, and with those names attached to it, it's right on my radar for sure.
So going into the next thing, which is, this is interesting. So this was announced today. So readers are going to vote for the next member of Jean Grey and Cyclops XMen team, the 20th team. And the people you could vote for here. So they gave us the list, and you can vote starting tomorrow. It's Banshee, Polaris, Forge, Boom Boom, Tempo, Cannonball, Sunspot, Strong Guy, Morrow, and Armor. For me, out of that, I would say Boom Boom or Armor. That's who
I first off, when I heard this news, I'm like, this is awesome. I'm like, this is what you need to get the readers more involved, right? Do more stuff like this. I think this is a great idea. And then I right away, when I saw this article today, I went online and I'm like, okay, who are the 10? And then I sat there, I'm like, oh, who do I want to see? Who's going to make a difference in the team and stuff like that. And then I saw Forge and I'm like, but he's already in a lot of the comic books, right? He's already a prominent role in the X-Men and stuff like that. So that wouldn't be much of a change. Yeah. So for me, I was like, it was either Polaris, because I felt like she would make a significant difference because she has some real good meaning to her. And then I also was like, well, I would want to see Strong Guy back again. So that's going back to like the old X Factor days. So I was kind of like, well, maybe one of those two.
Those two and Boom Boom. So it's we're all kind of on similar pages. Yeah, Polaris was my first thought. It's like that. I'd love to see Polaris, but Strong Guy we haven't seen done in a while. I think New Mutants was the last time we saw him, or was it New Mutants? Not New Mutants, not the mini series, not the current run.
I think he was in there briefly. Yeah,
I don't remember where he was, or maybe it was X Factor, one of the X Factors, or something. I don't know. It's been a while since we've seen Strong Guy.
I think it's just cool because we haven't done this in a long time. I definitely am going to vote. I don't even know how many times you can vote. I'm only going to vote once, but we do have I'm Cool who asks, hey, you guys seem like some cultured dudes. I'd like to add on to the Marvel discussion. Can I have a StreamYard link? Well, I'm Cool. Actually, on Kickstarter, we do have a tier where if you want to join the show, you can back that tier up and you can be part of the show and discuss Marvel if you like any topic for like 10 or 15 minutes. So I'm Cool. I'm going to give you a link so you could go check that out. Thank you for joining us.
Otherwise, feel free to leave comments and we'll address them as they pop up in the comments here.
Yeah, we try to do the best we can when it comes to that.
And thank you for joining us.
Oh, Black Knight said Strong Guy died in New Mutants.
Yeah. It was that not the virus, the technovirus, right?
Oh, God, I don't remember.
It was like a mini.
When you read too many comic books.
Yeah, it was like Magic and all them got infected or something, and then he died. I don't remember exactly.
How long ago was that?
I don't know. It was before all the current stuff, right?
Well, it's not like then they can't resurrect him, even if he did die.
Right,
So
exactly.
they'll figure out a way to bring him back, right?
Yeah.
All right, going into the next thing, which is, all right, let's see, Captain Marvel's new suit. So she's getting a new mystical suit. She's going to actually, I think, delve into magic, which is pretty cool. Captain Marvel gets the best suits, for sure. So I love that. I'm excited. I'm excited to end this arc as well. I don't really like this current arc, but I'm interested to see what they're going to do with this. I like at least the look of it.
I thought that it looked pretty cool too. It really gave that cosmic vibe. Like you looked at the cloak, it's got like you get to see like the stars mixed into it and everything like that. It looks very it's gonna sound lame. It looks very cosmic, very powerful. You know, I felt like we've seen cosmic characters that kind of look like that before too. What's her other one? She was in A-Force. Singularity?
Yeah. Singularity, yeah.
Yeah, where you like look at her and you get to see like the stars and everything in her. That's what that cloak like reminded me of.
So going into, sorry, we are going to be deleting some of these.
Yeah, definitely.
These
Keep
comments.
it civil, guys.
Yeah. Hold on. I don't know how this person knows my username. All right, there you go. Sorry. Any other thoughts on Captain Marvel, and then we'll go into the next thing.
No, we can move on.
No.
We do have Gem Mint's collectibles, though, so I want to give a shout out to Gem Mint here.
Hey, Steven, what's up, bud? How's it going?
What's up?
Thanks for checking out the show, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for watching. So going into the next thing, and then we'll go to our main topic. But yeah, female Marvel heroes are getting an anthology series, which is cool. I'm not a huge anthology series fan, and I don't know if I'll pick up every issue of this, but yeah, if Valkyrie shows up, I'll pick it up for her. I'll pick it up for certain characters. But that's always like what I dislike about anthologies is just like you're not following every issue. How are the sales going to do because of it? And they tend to just drop off after a while. So I'm curious to see how this will do.
Yeah, I just think it's cool to highlight these characters in particular. So I'm excited about it. And then, we've seen them do this before. I think it's been a number of years since they did this, but I remember they have done like the all-female creators, all-female characters thing before at Marvel, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they definitely have, for sure.
Yeah, so it's always fun. But it's, again, it's going to be like an anthology thing, so I'm always kind of iffy on anthologies, no matter what it is.
$10.
Yeah,
that's a lot. Exactly. I love my Valkyrie, but yeah, I don't know if I'm going to pay $10, especially since I have a book with her already. And a lot of these characters, like we have books with them. Yeah,
I guess once we know more about the actual like stories, it'll be we can make an informed decision.
Gem Mint has definitely a great point. If it doesn't have a main story, I'm out. Completely agree. If it has a serial story, it's so much easier to pick up those type of books. But when it is anthology and here's a 10-page short stories, like you might really like one short story, but then you might not like the other 3, so it doesn't make it as enjoyable.
Right.
That's every DC anniversary book that was released.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, for sure. And even some of the backup stories for Future State. I know we've been really discussing that. It's just like we could love a main story, we could love a secondary story, and I'm sure we'll talk about that this week as well. Yeah. But then you might not like the other story that's in the book, so it makes it very hard to review the book, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that.
We definitely will. We do have a question from Tevia. What about the Superman and Lois trailer? I honestly didn't watch it.
I didn't even see it. I didn't know it was out.
I'm just not excited for the show. So it's just like, if I hear amazing things about it, I'll watch it. But I've seen enough Superman shows, so I just don't care, honestly.
Yeah. I'm in the same place though. It's like I saw that on it was on our news originally. It was like one of the topics we always check off what we want to talk about, and whoever, if it's something we don't mark, we don't talk about it, right? So I looked at it, I was like, yeah, I don't care. I watched The Walking Dead when I was like, I don't care about that. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, and we've also talked about the small promo one as well. Like there was one that came out a couple of weeks ago, and we discussed that, and that didn't really impress me. We do have a new viewer here. Davey Side says, "Yo, what's up? First time watching live." Well, so first time live viewer. He probably doesn't watch the show. So thank you.
What's up, Davey?
Thanks, Davey.
Appreciate that. All right. So the next thing we're going to talk about, I'm going to actually screen share. This is our main topic for tonight, which is Heroes Reborn is getting another thing. I feel like every 5 years or so we get a Heroes Reborn something.
Here we go, baby.
At first, I thought you were trying to, buy a chair there. I didn't know what was going on.
I'm always trying to buy a chair. We got to give ads to Newsarama. I appreciate giving ads to Newsarama in particular. So please no ad blocker. Well, we're going to go through some of these teasers of Heroes Reborn. It looks like it's going to be mashups of different Marvel characters. And Heroes Reborn was a series from about 25 years ago. And now we got this.
Cat was barely born at that time, so we can say.
I was too in 1996. So
it was a very short-lived one too. It was like a year long, I think, maybe.
And yeah, this was the one where like you had Jim Lee come back and Rob Liefeld came back, and so you had all those creators come back to do Marvel's Reborn to kind of reboot the Marvel universe. That's what they did.
Yeah, it's interesting because that was all caused by Franklin Richards, and they're bringing it back after he's depowered. So that's an interesting timing involved there.
So this is like 25 years to celebrate all that, I guess.
Right. Kind of.
Another story.
I guess it is 25 years.
Yeah. To celebrate another story of this, and then it says what could. I don't know. I thought the end of the article said there could be like a new beginning. So like could this lead to changes in Marvel in general in the future?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, but you never know. I feel like this is like Marvel's future state right now.
Oh, 100%. And
right?
Speaking of future state, I guess I'm a little worried of that too. I feel like it's just going to be this filler arc of like, here's a fun what if. And honestly, none of these what ifs are really that exciting to me right now. It was like, okay, cool, I guess. And also we've seen mashups with Marvel almost every year. I feel like one of the later last events, you had like Laura mashed up with somebody else. And like,
that was what War of the Realms that they did that, right? That was
it? I don't remember.
Yeah, that was that last year or 2 years ago already? Now I don't.
War of the Realms. I think it was last year, wasn't it?
2 years.
Was it?
No,
2
yeah,
years
last year. I think it was last year. Well, we're in 2021, so technically it was 2 years ago.
Oh, so it was 2019, really?
Yes, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So I remember not being interested in that. This is our thumbnail. And there's nothing that really is like, Spider-Gwen worthy, let's say. Like when we saw Edge of the Spider-Verse.
Let's look at this one. You got this one up right now. So you got Thanos right there, right? Looks traditional. And he's got, instead of the gauntlet, what's he wearing? He's wearing the Mandarin's rings. So the Mandarin's rings have the power of the Infinity Stones or gems or whatever you want to call them these days. But that's what's going on there with Thanos.
Okay.
See, but does that excite me? I don't know. Yeah.
That doesn't, unless it ties into that teaser at the end of Thor a while back, if that's what this is all leading up to.
Depending on who's writing this, too.
Right.
Like, we don't know who the creative team is, if this is going to affect other titles, which is also a big thing, or is it's this own little mini universe? I don't know.
Right.
And I'm not reading Avengers, so
who else we got? Who else is there, Kat?
We have a lot. So this is I'll go back to the ones in the beginning of the article, but we have Incredible Hulk, and I don't even know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
What's going on there? What is that?
Is that those Gamma Dogs from the movie?
I have to say, this does not excite me. I want my Immortal Hulk.
classic Hulk. That's what it does look like.
It does.
I don't need classic Hulk. Like the reason that like classic Hulk didn't work for like 10 years. Like Immortal Hulk is where it's at.
Come on,
that's
man.
the other teaser.
Classic Hulk. Hulk smash it. I don't know what that thing is. Whatever he's fighting. What else we got there?
Is that Coulson?
This is
Yeah,
Coulson. This
Coulson.
one's probably the one I'm more interested in, just because we haven't seen Coulson. I'm like, okay,
Coulson
that's
for president? I'm there. I'll take that.
Me too. I think that's gonna be cool. So I like that one. Is this Mark Bagley's artwork?
It kind of looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, looks like it.
So it just gives you pictures. It doesn't give you like any creative.
Right. Yeah, it's just
pictures.
those classic Marvel teasers, right?
Right.
Then we have this that looks kind of bland. It's Wolverine and Doctor Strange-ish guy who's not Doctor Strange. Some Canada robot.
Sasquatch, North Star.
Yeah, Sasquatch with like horns on his head.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even realize that's North Star, but it's like is it a woman? Or is that actually North Star?
I can't tell.
What's different about Wolverine though? He looks the same.
He has like bolts in his arm.
This is a new Alpha Flight team, isn't it? That's what it looks like.
You're right.
I bet it is.
There you go. Good job. Good call, Brant. Good call there.
So far, also not excited. Okay, so we have this now Juggernaut.
Juggernaut Doom.
Doom, I'm sorry.
Dr. Juggernaut.
Dr. Juggernaut. Juggerdoom.
Oh yes, he even has Doom on his knuckles. Doom. Okay. Interesting.
That is wild right there.
Yeah. It's Aurora, Serenity says. So it's North Star's sister.
Okay. So that makes more sense. I'm like,
that's crazy. This Doctor Doom Juggernaut thing is crazy.
Yeah,
somebody taking a picture of some. Oh, okay. Is that Polaris?
I'm sorry. Let me. I was just trying to pull this up. So this is. We'll go back to the picture one. This is Peter Parker taking a picture of a superhero, which is kind of cool. That probably means that he's not a superhero.
Yeah, he's not anybody.
So that's kind of cool.
And is it a spider character?
Green.
It
looks like Jessica Drew.
I was just about to say the yellow boots. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's cool. Then we have the Polaris Enchantress combination, I think.
Scarlet Witch
or Scarlet Witch and Polaris. I don't know.
Lasers going on.
Yeah, those two look like dark side lasers. That's funny.
Oh, this is crazy.
Okay.
These are funny though. This is fun to do to figure out who these people are.
Comics Watching says it's been announced that Jason Aaron and Ed McGuinness are the team.
Okay, that makes sense. That does look like Ed McGuinness's artwork. Jason Aaron, I like his writing.
Yeah.
I'll try out the first issue. Whatever this is.
Come on, you gotta try it out. Yeah, you do. Come on, have some fun.
It really well, this one's cool. This one's Reed Richards and Ben as SHIELD agents. And
I like that.
Right?
Okay.
Because you have Sue usually with SHIELD.
Right.
I like that.
That's a cool cover.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. It makes sense too.
Yeah, the thing is, the things that are piquing my interest are franchises I already love. So it's like, okay, I love Spider-Man. I really enjoy the Fantastic Four.
Of course.
So, all right, the last image. Oh, never mind. We're out of images. So I'm gonna stop screen sharing. That is the Heroes Reborn conversation. Are you guys going to get Heroes Reborn? Which is definitely the big question of the night. So I think we're all gonna try it.
Is it gonna be like all separate books like that?
Man, I hope not.
I will not be getting Heroes Reborn. If it's
is it gonna be like a main book and then it's going to be like separate books? Like, I don't know, man. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of funny though. Like, Marvel's been redoing events, right? So they did what they do. They redid Secret Wars, right? So then they're doing Heroes Reborn. I felt like there was something else that they redid also.
Civil War.
Yeah, Civil War.
Civil War 2.
Yeah.
So they keep kind of bringing back events. Yeah. Kind of weird. Like,
they kind of redid the Kree Skrull War a little bit with that latest thing. Oh, whatever it was called. Empire.
Yeah, Empire. Right. So I guess it's a matter of, is this taking over Marvel, or
Yeah.
Oh, I
the other
hope
book
not.
gonna
I'll be
Yeah, I do
pretty
too.
disappointed.
I would rather just be its own thing.
Right. I agree with you. I think it needs to be its own thing. So if you go out there and want to buy those books, you can, and if not, you don't have to. Don't force it down people's throat when there's no other, other Marvel books. Be like, oh, you have to read this stuff.
It's like, no, I'm good. Yeah, so far I'm pretty underwhelmed with that one. I'm looking to see some of the comments. We do have some questions. One was, I hope I can go back. Let me see. One was about King Kong versus Godzilla. If anyone saw the trailer, I did not. I don't think I'm gonna see that movie. So, and then also Jimmy asks, "Are you guys gonna be reading Berserker from Keanu Reeves?" Also,
I will when it comes out.
well, you're gonna be reading that one. I'm probably not getting that.
I'll try it. I did see Dan Mora posted a variant cover for it today on Instagram. That looked really cool.
Yeah, I mean, it was supposed to come out a while ago, and then it wound up getting pushed back at the last minute. I think they had to redo the artwork in it or something like that. So, but yeah, I think it was supposed to come out like in October.
Yeah,
Well,
no, it was supposed to come out a while ago.
Yeah.
Then they had the Kickstarter and all that, so you're gonna have to wait even longer. You had to wait like 3 years to get your volumes, and now you gotta wait even longer. So that was all our news topics. So thank you. 50 people are watching. Thank you guys so much. We are gonna get into our Kickstarter. So I'm gonna screen share. Brant could describe because he actually made the page. We gotta give him all the credit.
Yep.
So I'm gonna screen share this, and then we'll talk about it. And hopefully you guys can. Well, first, before I screen share, I'm gonna actually send the link so you guys can back it up. So here's the link for the Kickstarter.
Oh,
and then,
by the way, we're over halfway. Just
are
look
we?
over. Yes.
Nice.
One day,
awesome.
guys.
We launched in one day. We're halfway there. That's awesome.
We are at
That's so
633 right now, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa. Really?
That's
Really
awesome.
more than halfway. Thank you guys. All right. So this is the page here. So Brant, if you want to describe it and then maybe highlight some of the tiers that especially will focus on our viewers.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously this is our Kickstarter for this show. We're doing an audio version of this podcast that we are launching in March. And this Kickstarter is to fund the first season, which will cover episodes from March through June, which is the first 18 episodes of that. So that's what we're raising funds for hosting fees, editing fees, and that kind of thing, so we can get this show out into more people. We were fortunate enough to get Project We Love today, and we are part of the Make 100 initiative because we have a custom USB with our logo on it that will contain all season 1 episodes. That is one of the reward items. There it is right there. And some of the other cool stuff that you can get through this Kickstarter, you can pick a single issue comic for us to talk about on the show. You can pick a graphic novel for us to talk about on the show. These are both limited because we only have so many episodes, so we can only do so many comics or whatever. There's a tier where you can produce the news, so you can take over Kat's job and pick all the news, pick all the news topics. Yeah, and all that. You can also, the one you just scrolled past, you can, there's the produce the news, but this one is you can pick a top 5 topic for us to do a bonus episode just on that topic, and we'll run down our thoughts on those top 5, whatever you pick. So that's another one. What else?
Those are the big ones. You can sponsor an episode. So
you can sponsor an episode. Yeah.
If you have a comic or company or whatever, you could sponsor
one
it.
is really cool because you can get it out there to other people. Whatever it is that you want to sponsor, we'll do it.
Yeah. Then
shout it out.
Before you talk about the bundle, you can also be on the show, which we mentioned earlier in this episode. It's a higher tier, and you get like a lot of stuff with it. But you can come on the show for a special 15-minute segment, and we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. So that's really cool. We got the art print that we showed earlier. That is available from 15, and it's on every physical level. So any physical level that you back, you'll get that. And
that's signed by all of us.
Yeah, signed by all of us. So that's, somebody had asked about that on the Kickstarter, so it will be signed by all of us. And I think there's one more thing I was going to mention. I can't remember. Oh, there's a high tier where you can both pick a top 5
Yeah, and if you back it up for $1, you get 9 digital comics and some really great ones, some from our friends. So hopefully you guys could just back it up for $1 and you get 9 free comics, which is pretty cool. But yeah, we really would appreciate it, and it's a way to build the show, and we already appreciate everyone who's backed it up thus far. We're getting really close to our goal, and we're only a day in, so we're really happy about it. And also, we'll scroll your name on the bottom of at least for these 2 weeks if you back it up. So just let us know if you've backed it, and we'll say how much you've backed it for, and we'll scroll it on the bottom.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely share this again at the end of the show, but we want to discuss that.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for taking the time to listen and know what this is, and of course, backing the project.
Oh yeah, thank Sean B mentioned the add-ons. That's something I forgot to mention too. Yeah, we do have a few items. We have like a coffee mug, a T-shirt, a face mask. What was the other thing? I totally forgot what it was. But yeah,
shirts, the hats.
The hat. That was the other thing I couldn't remember. But yeah, you can add that stuff on checkout. So if you want to get that kind of stuff, you can do that too. So.
I know that one of our viewers did back it up already now. It was Paul. So we're going to definitely flash your name on the bottom. So as we do like the under the radar and stuff, I'll get that all situated. But yeah, thank you guys. Again, $1 is appreciated. We'll be sharing it throughout the show.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, guys. So we're going to move forward now with the comic books.
Sounds good.
All right. So let's talk about Under the Radar. So obviously, Under the Radar is a segment where we talk about the book that might not be getting that much spotlight. People might not be hearing too much about it. And the first one that we're going to talk about is Cats. She wants to talk about Cable. This is issue 7. And just to let you guys know ahead of time, there are spoilers now. These books have been out for nearly a week. So we basically talk about everything and anything that happens. So you have been warned. So Kat, talk about Cable issue 7, the baby rescuing.
Yes. So Cable, I thought was a pretty solid issue because we actually get back to the main plot, which is the baby rescuing, which I think I'm not as interested in the baby plot as much as I am with the family stuff. So I like him interacting with his parents, but I also like the sister brother dynamic in this issue. And I thought the artwork was pretty good for it. So yeah, I thought it was pretty solid and one of the better issues of Cable in a while.
I agree. I like this book too. Because I dropped it in the beginning, like after the first issue. And then I obviously was reading Cable during the Ten of Swords stuff. And then I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to check it out after the fact of Ten of Swords to see where the story picks up. And it actually was really good. I love those two interactions, like you said, Kat. And the story had me intrigued. It was like a quick read, though. It was really fast, but it was a fun read.
Yeah, I was the same way. I kind of dropped off of it before Ten of Swords, and I tried it back with this issue as well. And yeah, it was fun. That was my favorite part too. Was their brother sister thing, and the babies thing was there. It was weird, but yeah, it was definitely better than the last couple of issues I had read pre X of Swords, or Ten of Swords.
I think what I liked about it was kind of like this little investigation, which was kind of cool. And it was cool how Cable he needed Rachel's help in order to help solve the case. And I thought that was really neat. And then obviously he's going to go after Strife in this going forward in the story. So that's a pretty big deal also.
Yeah, another 90s throwback, which that's cool revisiting that. But and keeping it to himself, which was interesting as well. So.
Yeah, absolutely. But it wasn't a bad book. I thought it was pretty good. So good stuff. All right. So speaking of a new number 1 here, we have Brant. You want to talk about Iron Fist?
Yeah, Iron Fist Heart of the Dragon. I didn't know what to expect. I was kind of nervous about it, but I think it was a really solid first issue, and it was a fun story. I didn't know exactly where it was going to be placed, but it seemed like it was present day or close to present day. Iron Fist has to go to the mystical cities because somebody is hunting down all the dragons in the cities of in the mystical hidden cities of heaven or whatever, and taking their hearts and everything. So it was and Taskmaster shows up again. Taskmaster's everywhere.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, he's still one of the hearts, so that was a nice surprise. I didn't know he was going to be in it. And he was he gave Iron Fist a run for his money too. So it was a really solid issue with a really lots of action and some funny stuff with Luke Cage and the kid. I forget the kid's name. But yeah, I really enjoyed this issue. I thought it was good.
Yeah, I agree. I love Taskmaster showing up, and he's doing it. He was doing it one-handed, man. He was battling Iron Fist.
Yeah, he was. I forgot about that because he wasn't going to let go of his mission there.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a good book. I agree with you. I had a lot of fun. I thought Luke Cage though was maybe just a little bit out of character for me.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, just a little bit. not by much, but I thought he was too I don't know.
Too comical?
Yeah. It's like almost too much of a nice guy, too comical. I don't know. Yeah. But nevertheless, though, it was just a nitpick for me in the issue, Yeah,
I can see that though. He's more of a I don't want to say super serious, but he's no nonsense kind of.
Right.
So I get that. That's kind of their dynamic, Danny's the comical one.
Danny is the one that's more comical, and then Luke is the one that's more serious, and they balance each other out.
Yeah. Luke's the straight man to his comedy act. Yeah, So I get that point. I can see that.
All right. So my under the radar was Maestro War and Pax. So this was the first issue of that second volume that came out, and it kind of left off, where it ended in the last volume. And I thought it was really good. And we get to see Bruce trying to now take over the entire world. As of recently, he just took over basically the kingdom of where Hercules was in charge of, because he was the last Maestro. And he meets up with Machine Man, excuse me. And he does battle against him, and actually Machine Man gets the upper hand on him and pulls a fast one on him. And he leaves Bruce Banner to die. He leaves a bomb and tries to blow him up. I thought it was really good, man. This book really surprises me. I didn't think Peter David had anything left to tell when it came to the Hulk, but I was so wrong. It's just this added story with Maestro in his early days of ruling, and really good, nice action, great artwork, and I definitely recommend it if people haven't given it a try, for sure.
Cool. I'm glad that he does have more to say.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, for sure.
So good stuff there. So those were our under the radar books. And so now we're going to go on to the big books of the week. And so we're going to talk about the big daddy of them all this week. And this one was King in Black issue 3. So this book has a lot of action in this one, right? We wind up seeing
very action driven for sure.
Yeah. This one obviously we get to see Dylan use his powers more extensively here, and we get to see the little bit of the time that he used it, how much damage he can do to the other symbiotic creatures. And we can see that he hurts Null just by killing, that little Captain America nullified creature. You can see that he feels it. And when he's pissed off, Dylan, it looks like he can cause some damage. And then we got to see Thor in this issue, which was cool because him and Null wound up doing a crazy ass battle. Knocked his jaw off. Man, oh man, that was so, god dang, that was crazy.
Did he die in the Thor? die? Because he got stabbed, even though he's like a god of gods. What's going on with Thor?
And also, I'm trying to figure out where this fits in with what's going on in Thor, because right now he's trapped.
That was my question, especially because it's the same writer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if Thor got delayed or something. It was supposed to be out sooner or something. Maybe.
I have a feeling King of Black was probably
maybe.
I think King of Black was probably delayed. I don't know, because that was kind of like, okay, well, how's that all connect?
Right.
I thought the same thing too. I was like, well, how does this connect, right? And then I'm like, well, is Thor a separate story, and this is a separate story? So I was a little bit confused with all that myself. But I kind of just looked it, and just roll with it,
Yeah, you kind of have to, like Sean said to me, not to try to figure that out. Just give him a pass. Yeah. You got to with those kind of stories, but it did make me think about it for a second. So
yeah. Absolutely.
I don't think this was the strongest issue of the series, but it was still what you wanted. Like, it was very action heavy, and I think if you're a Donny Cates fan, you're gonna get a lot out of this. Like, for me, I was just like, oh, it was okay. Like, cool, Silver Surfer Black is here. I guess that's interesting. But if you've been following his journey, I'm sure it's like, whoa, he's here. I was just like, oh, cool.
I thought,
go ahead.
I just real quick, because I haven't been following Black Silver Surfer or whatever he's called now. It's just cool for like a guy at his level to show up, because it's like, okay, now you're calling all the big guns in. Thor came in, he couldn't handle him, so now here comes Silver Surfer. That's what I got of it. But.
Yeah, and then it's kind of like, this is everything that Donny Cates has written so far, and it's like all starting to come together, right? And I thought it's kind of cool. It's like he wrote the Null and Silver Surfer Black series, and we saw Silver Surfer become Silver Surfer Black, and now he's making his way. He's written Thor, and it's very fitting that Thor's making that grand entrance. Just everything that he's written is come together here, and I think it's going to be a crazy ending.
Yeah, I love the battles in this book. I know it's like really action heavy, but I mean, Dylan doing his thing and Thor and Null fighting. I was waiting for Thor to show up this whole series. It's like, where the heck is Thor? You need Thor, especially with the power cosmic that he has now. And it was what I wanted. But at the same time, it's like, okay, if Thor can't take him, what chance does anybody else have?
Right.
So yeah.
And I couldn't figure out who was narrating the actual book at first, right? And I'm kind of like, who's talking? And I was so dumb. I'm like, I saw the last page, and I'm like, really? Like, I couldn't figure this out, that was Silver Surfer is the one that was talking the whole time.
I couldn't either till I flipped that page. And it's like, oh, okay.
So they did a good job at like kind of having you not figure out his narration, because his dialogue boxes were blue, and it's just like he's the black, he's a black character, I guess, right now. So, yeah, but still, I had a lot of fun with this one. So I think it still has its momentum, and I think it's going to, end well. I don't think this one is going to fizzle out.
Yeah, I hope so.
We'll definitely see. I'm excited to see what the ending is going to be.
Jaime says, I think Silver Surfer Black is bringing Galactus.
Oh, that'd be a lot.
Is the one with, but so again, this is what would be confusing, right? Because supposedly, if you read Thor, Galactus is dead.
Yeah.
Galactus doesn't exist anymore. So that's why it is a little.
I wouldn't want to bring him back so soon either, because he just died a couple months ago.
Yeah, it's like his helmet's in Asgard or something, right? For once, I didn't. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. So, he's just saying he's glad he's here.
What's this one say?
David says he's happy to be here, and then Jaime says the black is what will let Silver Surfer enter. I haven't read any of the black versions of any of the books, but
cool. All right, so
Oh, Mike's pausing a little.
Yeah.
Or am I pausing? Yeah, no, it's Mike.
No, it's
Okay. He'll be back, I'm sure. Or maybe he's just talking. He doesn't know he's pausing.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the next book we're going to talk about, and also obviously a note is that future state books are going to be talked about at the end of the show. If there's some in our top 5, we'll talk about that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, next book is Stillwater, issue 5. What do you think of this one?
I didn't love this one as much as previous issues, honestly. I thought it was still good. The twist at the end with the deputy bringing in his Marine buddies was interesting. It's like, okay, but I don't know that I like the direction it's taking now, because it's becoming like a military state, right? It's like, the mayor and, now these Marines are going to just like police everybody even worse than they already were. So I'm not sure where they're going with it, but it was also, for a series that surprised us, I thought that this issue was a little predictable.
I enjoyed this issue. I will say, this is in my top 5, and I also did not have a great week for comics. Like, nothing was over 4 stars, and there was like only 2 4-star books. So in another week, I don't know if it would have been as high as it ended up being, but I still thought this was a very solid installment. Just because I enjoyed the idea of like, okay, we're gonna rebel, and then they're like, oh shit, we can't do that. I thought it was interesting just establishing that and establishing their place in this town, and that there's other people in this town who are tired of what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, I thought all that was cool too, but it's like as soon as they started talking about standing up and whatever, bringing it to the mayor, I knew that was going to happen. It's like, okay, he's not going to let that let them last. So again, it was still a solid issue. It's like my number 7 out of 16. So I still liked it, but just not quite. It didn't blow me away like the previous issues.
That's understandable. Hopefully Mike will come back, but we are going to move on to our number 5. So Brant, what was your number 5?
If I can decide on my top 5, I don't
know. You're being so indecisive.
Yeah, I keep switching them because it's like it was the same thing with you. It's like none of them like really blew me away this week. So it's like, okay, yeah, I'm just trying to order. But yeah, I'll go with what I have down here, which is Black Cat, issue number 2. This is still the best tie-in to King in Black out there for me. I thought it was fun. The heist to steal Doctor Strange was cool. They used the anti-venom suits to kind of break into the sphere that's holding him, and they use I forget his name, but the ghost dog. That's how they found Doctor Strange. He went in ahead of them, and because it was like a maze in there. So they find Doctor Strange, they get him out, but he's unconscious. And of course they have to do like an escape because it's a heist, and they wreck the Spidey buggy. So that's no more. And it was just cool seeing another level for Black Cat. She's in the anti-venom suit, and by the end, she's apparently a transformed Asgardian now. So some cool things for Felicia going on.
A lot happening in only 2 issues.
Yeah, right?
That's crazy. All right, so Mike, we talked about Stillwater, and we talked about Black Cat because that was number 5 for Brant. I didn't talk about my number 5 yet, though.
Okay. So Stillwater, did you guys like that particular issue real quick? I didn't.
I liked it more than Brant. Brant thought this was a slower issue.
Yeah, I thought it was a little predictable.
It was a little slow, yeah. I had a feeling that the judge was going to kind of like be an asshole and just be like, no, you guys are a bunch of losers. But I did not expect the ending of the place blowing up. I did not expect that.
That and the doctor, we don't know what happened to him. I'm sure he's okay, but what's going to happen there?
Yeah, I'm sure when you blow up in about 1,000 pieces and the whole building falls on top of you, you'll regenerate and be fine, right?
Just take a little while.
Yeah, it'll take longer than expected. And then when it comes to Black Cat, I really enjoyed that issue. That issue was so much fun.
Yeah, I want to see what happens now that she's like got this Asgardian powers.
Yeah, man, she's turning it up her notch, but yeah. I just love how like confident she is. I think she's so good, and and it's like, yeah, there's nothing I can't do. And that's what I like about her so much. And I thought the artwork was really good in this book. And, when this book goes back from King in Black and goes back to normal again, I'm all over it because it's just really well written.
Yeah, it really is.
So I won't spend too much time on that. And so that was your number 5?
Yeah.
Okay. And Kat, that was Stillwater was your number 5, or we talked about it?
No, so that was just a big book. So my number 5 is a book no one reads here, which is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Issue 61 is the legacy number. I think it's issue 3 of regular Power Rangers or Mighty Morphin, whatever it's called at this point. It was good. It's this kind of hard sci-fi adventure, and Lord Draken kind of trying to play both sides, which was interesting. This is a little bit more actiony than the last issue. I thought the action and the motions were better balanced in the last one, but still a good ending, and there's a good cliffhanger overall. So I love the Power Ranger books, and I think Ryan's doing a great job.
Cool. All right. My number 5 is actually, what was it? I forgot. And I just looked at it too. It was actually Catwoman. I actually like that book.
That was a good book. I enjoyed it too.
I didn't like Catwoman, so I'm excited to hear it. No, I was a little bored.
Okay.
I liked it. I liked how she had to go on this chase on this train, and she had to go in there and try to rescue the kids or people that were in there. And okay, so what I was confused, is that Bruce Wayne that was in that train?
I think so, and that's why I was like, is that even connected? Because we have Dark Detective going on right now, so I'm like, what story? Yeah, what's going on?
The timing in these books is all over the place.
Right.
But supposedly the Bat books were supposed to be like in the same timeline, so that's why I was kind of confused by that.
Yeah.
Right. So I did. That's where I was a little bit confused. But the ending was really cool because I didn't expect Talia to be at the end of that book, and she stabbed one of those guards, and I was like, "That's pretty cool." Because I didn't see that actually coming. But I love the magnetic suit. I love how it's like, okay, you got 15 minutes to do this, or the suit's going to power off, and it's just like everything's got to work out exactly perfectly. It was like this I don't know, this high-speed chase type of thing, So it reminded me of basically just something that happened in a movie scene. I thought this one was a lot of fun, and it's $3.99. You don't pay $6, $7, and it's just like nice. Story. This is what you get, and there you go.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that aspect of it too. It felt like a movie scene, like you said, and I didn't know it was going to be Talia, but I did know it was going to be that woman because she said she had an inside person, and it just seemed like the logical choice to be her. But I didn't see it being Talia, but that makes perfect sense now that we know it was Bruce they were trying to free or whatever.
Right.
I love heists. Stories, that kind of story, and the magnets, you only got so many minutes before they fail. You got to get inside right this time. Everybody's got to be on their mark, have everything, going off like clockwork. I just love the timing of it and the urgency of it, and it was just fun.
I didn't like the dialogue work. I thought it was really bogged down for an action issue. I was like, it's a lot of dialogue for train heist.
I can see. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see that. I just thought out of probably the Future State books this week, I think this one was my favorite one. I'm pretty sure, just because it wasn't this overly complex story where it existed. It was here. It was read it, enjoy it, have fun with it, try not to overdo it, and that's what I liked. I think the most about it.
That was your number 5, right?
Yeah. Right. So let's talk about another book that me and Brant have been given tries.
I don't even know why.
This was the final straw for me.
Agreed.
Avengers issue 41. I got halfway through this book and I just did one of these and said, I'm done. I am not reading this anymore.
I did finish it, but I was thinking about doing the same thing. It was like, well, I'm this far in, I might as well just go ahead. But yeah, I felt the same way though.
I mean, it's a lot of nothing though. It's just everything takes place like right there. It's just a constant battle back and forth, and there was a lot of political stuff going on in this particular issue, and it was just like I didn't like it. It was just it's really a pointless story arc, you know?
Yeah, it's like they're all inside this thing, but they got headstrong and they're like, oh, we're just gonna fight whoever, and then it's like, no, the Phoenix Force decides who you fight. And then they get shifted off, and in the whole issue, it was Black Panther. It was Black Panther centric, which is fine, but the whole thing, his attitude was just weird. It was like he was sure that he could beat anyone in the world. Basically, he was like, I know I can beat you. I'll beat this, and you can't challenge me because I'll end up beating. It was so weird, so weirdly written that it totally pulled me out of it. Yeah.
I think this is a story where I totally thought it was going to go in a completely different direction than it did. I didn't expect it to all take place like it does, where it does. And I thought the plot would just be a little bit more in depth, maybe a lot more in depth than it actually is. Besides, hey, I'm the Phoenix Force. I'm going to select my avatar by moving back and forth and between bodies and seeing who I like the best and who represents who. It just, I don't know. It's just dumb. Like, this makes Avengers vs. X-Men like that was a masterpiece compared to this.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they took Avengers versus X-Men and boiled it down to one simple little thing and just said, okay, battle.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, maybe this would be okay in a video game, but
it's definitely, it's like Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Sounds boring.
Yeah, it was.
It's definitely not right up your alley, Kat. But you know what? If someone backs the Kickstarter and says, I want to read a particular issue, they're going to say, I'm going to make you guys read Avengers issue 41.
And we'll read it.
We'll review it.
We'll tell you our honest opinion about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. But for now, because we're not doing Chop Block because we're doing Future State instead, it's dropped. I'm done.
We're done with that one. All right. So let's move on to our number 4. So, Kat, what was your number 4 this week?
Mine was Cable. We already talked about it.
And Brant.
Mine is surprising. It's Batman Catwoman, number 2.
Oh my God. We have so different opinions.
I know. I actually really enjoyed this issue. I hated the first issue, but this issue.
Not read it.
You didn't read it?
I'm excited to hear what Brant's take was on it.
I thought this issue was easier to follow than the first one. The first one felt like.
I disagree
you
on
disagree?
That one.
The first one felt like it was all over the place.
I thought this one was all over the place.
I thought the first one was so choppy.
Oh no!
Yeah, and then she finally gets her revenge on the Joker in this issue. So it's like, okay, I've been waiting for that. That's what I wanted to see.
Underwhelming though. She scratched his neck and he was dead.
I mean, she told him that's what she was going to do. She with her claws, she slit his throat.
Like, and then he's dead. And I'm like,
yeah, I like that. In present.
Yeah, I love the scene where he goes into the kitchen. He's like pretending to get ice or whatever, and he pulls out a gun and he comes out and shoots, but she's not there. She's behind him, and then it's like you're done. I enjoyed this issue a lot better than that first one, so it impressed me.
I like the cliffhanger. I didn't like anything else. I also want the Phantasm character. She doesn't show up at all. Like, I don't really know what her place is at all. I just want to see Helena and her girlfriend. They're not in this issue. Yeah.
It seemed like they were showing the victims of the Phantasm, though. It's like maybe not her victims, but targets. Yeah, I
just
know.
want to know like what she's all about, and I just thought it was so jumpy, and I just don't really like this book. But I'm gonna stick around. I gotta see what that Scratch does. Does he turn into a werecat? I don't know what's gonna happen.
God.
But I'm glad you like
I think
Grant.
Grant's going to be disappointed in the third issue.
And I think I'm going to like it.
Of course.
He's going to keep flip-flopping.
We're totally opposites on this book.
It's just going to be funny. I can't wait to see how this unfold.
Me too, honestly. I just want to see how it ends, in all honesty.
You know what? In all honesty, like I didn't hear anybody else talking about this book this week.
Yeah,
and then
much.
So this is the first like any type of review I heard about this book this week, whether it was good or bad. And so I did not expect this to come out of your mouth, Brant, when it came to this.
I know, right? I didn't either.
When I heard surprise, I thought it was going to be a future state title.
Yeah. One day Batman Catwoman, I'm like, really?
Like, what?
Yeah, I know. It surprised me too. It's like I don't know if you guys, I don't know how you guys rank your books and stuff, but I list all mine out and then I give them a ranking and I do it all in a spreadsheet and then I sort them and then I'm like, oh, okay, that's what I like the best. So then I order them from there. Yeah,
I do it as I read. So I'll start out, okay, this is number 1, and then my second book is like, okay, that's number 2, and then like I do it as I read and I rank it as I read.
Okay.
I basically I have my stack of books and I'll be like, okay, number 1, and then is the next book I read better than that one, and then I put it on the bottom. And then if it's so that's what I do.
Yeah.
So and then there's times I look at all the books, I'm like, am I sure? Am I not sure? And I do some changes because sometimes it's like really close,
Yeah.
Yes, as you read, you're like, oh, maybe I'll change it, whatever it is.
Yeah, right. I don't really think about it as I go, except unless something just like really stands out to me. But then when I put them all in a spreadsheet later, it's like then I'm like, okay, what did I think about this book? And sometimes I'll flip back through and it's like, oh yeah, okay. So yeah, I maybe I should do it as I'm going.
You should try it out and see what happens. Batman Catwoman would be like worst pick.
Yeah. Oh, Catwoman, that's right.
Sorry.
We do have a comment from Bavarian. Just back the Kickstarter. Thanks for all the great content over the years. It's the least I could do to support you guys. Thank you so much, Bavarian. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you.
We'll put you in the scroll. I just gotta find your name, so we'll do that.
All right. So while Kat does that, and just my number 4 is the book what we already talked about is my Under the Radar book, and it was actually Maestro War and Pax issue 1. So
nice.
Nothing said to be there. All right, let's see what else we have. Let's talk about Brant's favorite book, Scumbag, issue 4.
I saw your before you get into it, Mike. I saw your haul and you were showing off that Trans Am. I was like, oh my god.
The funny thing is, I mentioned the sex doll in that, and
she was so good.
And she was great because she's like, you made me sentient, and I cannot do sexual acts unless I want to, and I don't want to with you because you're so funny.
Wow.
Man. It's so even a robot he can't even hook up with, which I thought was hilarious.
That was my favorite scene. I hope the secret agent girl ends up with the robot because like I saw chemistry between those two. I think they're gonna end up together. So but yeah, the book is actually kind of hard to review physically because it's pretty much all not safe for work, like the whole thing. So yeah, but it was fun. I really liked the book. I like that. I like the idea that these two characters are so different, and we get to see that in this orgy strip club setting, and just how different they are, and how much of a jerk our scumbag is, where he will do anything for what he wants, and I enjoyed it too.
Yeah, definitely a lot going on in that book. I did not expect to see all that and a lot more.
There was a lot.
Nevertheless, though, it was hilarious. And like you said, it's like everyone has a price, right? And so this bad guy, the antagonist, offers him pretty much anything that he wants. And now he's truly thinking about it. And It's quite interesting, actually. And this was in my panels of the week where he actually has Detective Comics in there.
That was cool. That was almost in my
Batman, and just they had a whole scene with it. And I'm like, oh my god, this is crazy where they're going with this, with the Detective Comics issue. But yeah, it was a cool book, man. This book, I thought at first it wasn't going to be good, and it now, like, it's totally won me over again. It's really good.
It's one of my favorite indies. It's just so unique. I've never read anything like it, which is kind of nice.
It's off the wall.
Unique is the word.
It's ballsy though too. I think it really is.
And
in more ways than one, apparently.
Definitely in more ways than one.
Yeah.
You see everything, for sure. But yeah, no, I think it's I feel like it moves. I was gonna say, I think it moves very quickly. That 3 issues in, the plot's thickening for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you, 100%. All right, so let's move on to number 3. Brent, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is a book we already talked about, Catwoman.
Nice. How about you, Kat? Because I know Catwoman wasn't your number 3.
No, but it was another Future State book. It was Nightwing. I thought it was a pretty solid.
I like Nightwing too. That one was good.
It had a plot, you know. It was Dick Grayson trying to figure out what to do with Gotham now that Batman's gone, and you get to see the rest of the Bat family too, which also doesn't quite connect to next Batman because Batgirl, Barbara is doing something else in that book compared to this book. So, and I guess it was kind of cool to see her costume. But I really liked seeing Dick meet next Batman. We got a little bit from that, and I'm more excited for issue 2 in that regard. I really like the artwork for it. Thought it flowed really well, and definitely one of the stronger Future State books for me.
Yeah, and again, timing. I mean, where does this take place in relative to Teen Titans? It's like what?
That too. Who knows?
I know. That's the thing. It's like everything's all over the place. That's the only thing that bugs me. But I don't
think it's supposed to. I think it's literally supposed to just be like, they're separate stories, different times, whenever. Take it for what it is.
Right.
Type of continuity thing.
Yeah, and I get that, and that's fine. Once you accept that, you can live with it, move on, right? But I did like him. Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say, okay, you go for it.
I was just agreeing with you. I liked him teaming up with Batman. But go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's what I don't like about Future State is that I don't really know why I'm reading it. Like, besides like the characters, like, okay, cool, I'm learning more about Yara, I'm learning more about Tim, but the other characters are like, is anything gonna matter after this? Like, I really do feel like it's a buffer to what they needed to get to with Infinite Frontier and the new creative team. I really think it's just they're like, we need some time to figure this out. Or it was planned before Dan Didio left, which it does seem like that's more of what happens. Like, okay, this was kind of like, this is the transition series to get to new era of DC.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it feels like to me too.
Yeah.
So much money for that.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought I got messed up. And then, so I think it's a rewrite, obviously, in a way of what 5G was. And so they did the best that they could with it.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking too. Yeah.
All right. So we got that one. So I think my number 3, I think, is a book we already talked about too. Yeah. We just talked about it, Scumbag.
Cool.
So that's that. All right. So we're moving right along. We talked about X-Force already. So we're going to just take it along. Go to number 2.
We didn't talk about X-Force.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got confused with Cable.
Cable.
X-Force.
I was like, wait, when do we talk about that?
Let's talk about X-Force. What did you think about that one, Brent?
It was definitely better than the last arc. I wasn't enjoying that book before Ten of Swords, but I think, or maybe I'm getting it confused. Is that the one that Quentin keeps dying in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't loving that last story arc, but this was fun. At the very least, it was interesting, and it's like, okay, you got this whole virus going on, and these zombie creatures, and they have to dive down into this trench and find this like Leviathan, and it's like, okay, this is weird, but
Yeah.
it's interesting. And Kat's favorite character shows up with Namor.
Yeah, Namor was in here.
Yeah.
This would be an automatic
Doesn't
like
sound fun.
last on your list if you read this
Yeah,
book.
exactly.
Oh,
But
for sure.
it was cool seeing them battle. But the fun thing was the thing with Quentin and Phoebe.
Yeah.
And her showing, they were trying to keep it secret, and she's like, "No, I got to kiss you goodbye in case you die again, dude."
Yeah.
So come back to me.
And then Wolverine makes a smart remark. I'm trying to remember what he did, what he said, or something like that. But he said something really funny too.
Yeah, and him and Forge were teasing him pretty hard, calling him Lover Boy and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. It was a good book. I thought it was cool, and I like how like Wolverine was sinking to the bottom of the ocean.
He was like, "I'm too heavy.
I'm going down." It was awesome, and they do all these battles against these creatures, and Namor bails them out. He's like, "You show yourselves here. I'll make sure your mutant island doesn't exist anymore." So he was an asshole.
Of course, as always. I did okay, first, Beast is still being, borderline Dark Beast in this book, which is concerning. But I like the monologue of Wolverine at the end, the kind of thing where he's talking about, all these ancient things, you got to climb that mountain, you got to, defeat that thing. And he's like, that's how I feel about this Leviathan. I'm not going to sleep until I kill this thing. Right. So I thought that was it was very poignant.
Yeah, it was a good book. I think this was just, it seemed like it was just a single story, right?
Yeah, it did.
So, yeah, we'll see where it goes continuing going forward. So, I liked it a lot. All right. So, now we did talk about X-Force. So, let's move on to number 2, right? So,
yes.
Kat, what was yours?
Mine was Future State Shazam issue 1. I enjoyed this one. It was a little choppy at times, but you understood why it was choppy by the end because he wasn't Billy. So I like that. This is the first time we've seen Shazam without Billy. And I liked how broken he was by the end. I enjoyed kind of the makeshift Justice League. I was just pleasantly surprised by this one because I haven't liked a Shazam story in a while.
Yeah, apparently Shazam without Billy is a murderous a-hole. But that was an interesting twist on the character. I had fun with it. It wasn't my favorite. It's not my top 5, but I did enjoy it more than I thought I would. I was kind of nervous about another Shazam book, but splitting them apart was a neat way to go, and why they split apart and where Billy is was fun too. So
I didn't like this book.
Yeah, right.
All across the map with Future State.
Yeah,
right? I didn't like this one. I just felt like it was kind of all over the place. Like it's like he wakes up from this particular
dream. With that.
Yeah, no, I thought and then all of a sudden they're in the Justice League. They're getting ready to do the mission, and then all of a sudden they're in the jail cell and they're fighting people, and then they're going to. And then all of a sudden, then he's in hell. I didn't like it. I just thought it was too jumpy. The only thing I liked was them being separated. I didn't really care about the rest of it. I really didn't.
I think it was a build up to show that it wasn't Billy. It was, that was the whole reason they did it. It could have been structured a little better. I agree with you. I did think it was choppy as well, but yeah. I don't know. I enjoyed it for what it was.
Right. That's fine. That's great. For me, when I read it, I actually went back and read it twice because that's how jumpy it was for me. And that's just me. Maybe that's just how I, reading comprehension wise or whatever it was. But it just didn't do it for me that way. I just how many times are we going to wake up in bed, my phone ringing, and then it's just I'm going to break my phone and get accused by the question, and you know, because they're trying to figure out. He's like, "Why are you an asshole?" And he's like, "Why are you an asshole?" And he's like blaming him and stuff like that. But I don't know. We'll see where it goes. I'm gonna continue the next issue and see, what happens with it.
Yeah, I enjoyed the question as well. Radio, was it Radio Kid? Radio Bid. I want to know who that question is.
Yeah, that's the question.
Yeah.
Sure. I like that this one had a story. Again, like that's kind of been my biggest complaint about these future state books. I'm like, well, what is the plot? This one, like, it had a plot. It had a pretty good character-driven story as well. So I thought, even though it wasn't perfect, I found myself enjoying it more than some of the other ones.
Gotcha. That's cool. Just like how Brant and I enjoyed Catwoman. You enjoyed the Shazam. So that's A-okay. All right. So all right, that was your number 2, Kat, right?
Yes, that was my number 2. Mm-hmm.
All right, Brant, what's yours?
Mine is a book we already talked about, King in Black.
All right. And mine was a book we also talked about, which was Black Cat.
Nice.
All right. So let's go on to the number 1 book. My number 1 book was a book we talked about, King in Black, issue 3. No surprise there. Very predictable on my end. Let's see. Brant, what's yours?
Mine is actually Immortal Wonder Woman.
Ooh, see, me and Brant.
I know.
I got so many different thoughts.
So let me explain why, though. Let me explain why. So
I'm just before you get into it, it was my second worst pick.
Okay.
It was my worst pick.
Wow. Okay. So first of all, the main reason is because I freaking love the art. I think it's a gorgeous book.
The art was good, but I don't even think it was Ben Bartel's best art. I thought it was a little smudgy at times.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't like. Okay, so the slow part for me is when she's like arguing with all the Amazons. That part I could live without. But I like the introspection and her, lamenting Bruce's death and kind of talking to his ghost basically, and taking on his belt. And I just love the emotional aspects of the book. And then she battles against Darkseid, which was kind of cool. Darkseid is just like, I don't care about any of you. I'm just going to go off and leave you to die. And I thought that was fun. It was kind of, whatever. And then the two of them battle, and you see old Superman getting his butt handed to him. I thought that was cool. And then I also like the backup story because here's another Wonder Woman character at some point in time. And it was an interesting twist on the Wonder Woman mythos and taking it into a different direction, a different culture and everything. I enjoyed that. I liked Nubia quite a bit. So that's why I liked it.
I was bored for most of it. And it's hard because, like, you had such a big moment after Death Metal with Wonder Woman. So this should be like, premiere series. But then you also compare it to Yara and how much I really enjoyed that book. And I didn't really quite like Old Man Superman. I hate that nothing's connected. And yeah, I was more excited for this book, and it just kind of let me down.
Okay.
I'm right there with you, Kat. I had this different expectation from this book, trying to see maybe where did Wonder Woman go after like Death Metal and whatnot. And I don't know. The artwork, I liked it, but I thought it could be better at times. And
yeah,
I just thought
I agree.
there was just a lot of just standing around, just doing nothing. And like, I get the journey and everything else, but it was just too much of that. And then when you got to the next story, there was more of that, just standing around. There was a little bit of action with her battling, was it Grail, right? That's who she was battling. And
I don't remember.
Yeah, it was for that evil person.
Nubia battled Grail. Wonder Woman battled Darkseid,
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Nubia battled Grail. So that's that story. But then there was a lot of like, I don't know, just unnecessary talking heads. Like it was just too much of that going on. And it was like, for a book that's like 60 something pages long, I needed more of a balance for me. I don't mind dialogue heavy books, but I needed more balance, and I just didn't get that with this book.
And more plot, honestly. It goes back to what I was saying before. Like, I think Shazam had like a good plot. Like, I knew where it was going. This is just like, oh, fight. Cool.
Well, I mean, it's they inherited the Earth. Everybody else was dead. I think was the point of it. And it's like, she wanted to go find another world, and they wanted to fight for that one, and that was kind of. But I agree that conversation, that argument didn't need to be nearly as long as it was. So
we're also getting questions about Deceased. I actually stopped reading the book, so I don't really have an opinion. But Mike, did you read the end of Deceased?
Yeah, I thought it was good, but I thought it could have been a stronger ending, in my opinion. It's kind of just like they cured everybody, and they defeated the Amazon robots, and then I'm trying to remember what happened. And then at the end, you wind up seeing Oliver and Ina, like they cured him, so they're back together by the time we wind up getting to the end of it. Unless I missed something, I don't know if I missed something. But yeah, it was fine. I don't think it was the best ending in the world, but it was good.
Also, we are going to move into the Future State books, right? No, I didn't get my number one or Mike, so never mind. But before we do, we only have, before we get into the rest of the number ones, we have one more backer left to get to 40 backers for the Kickstarter. So hopefully you guys could go check it out and get us to 40 backers by the end of the show.
it'd be awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. But my number one was King in Black. I did.
Oh, right. So mine was Stillwater. So we already talked about it. I thought it was a solid issue. Again, in another week, I don't think it would have been my number one, but I enjoyed this one out of all the books I read.
All right. So let's move forward here. We were talking about Future State. So I don't think we really talked about the next Batman, did we?
We didn't. And what's so weird about this book, the main story is so forgettable, but Batgirl. So I guess I could say this. I had an opportunity to read this like a long time ago, like a month or two ago, but I didn't want to spoil myself. So I only read like a little bit of it to kind of get some like interview questions. And I was a little disappointed because I was like, oh my God, Stephanie's so out of character. And I only read like the beginning chunk of it. And then I read the thing and I was like, oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah. That's the way I felt at the beginning of that too. It's like, what?
Yeah, she's like, oh, this is not Stephanie, and this is so weird. But then you get it, and you're like, oh my God, this is Stephanie, because she would totally do this to protect her friends and protect everybody. I actually thought she was really in character, even though she was undercover, just to protect everybody. And I thought there were so many interesting twists and turns with Barbara being kidnapped or whatever she was.
She was like underground, wasn't she? Like,
She was like, strapped to a chair, and I was like, whoa, this is kind of cool. But I genuinely just really like Cassandra and Steph and their interaction, especially as you get to the end of the issue. And I wish that was a whole book on itself, because that one that would be my pick of the week totally. It was such a good story. But then you have the other stories, so it's just so hard to review them. That's why I didn't make my top 5, because the next Batman stuff was so forgettable. There's another story too, right?
The Gotham City Sirens one.
See, I didn't like that.
I didn't like that either.
So I was just like, how do you review this? Like, it's like Batgirls was so freaking good, and then the other two, Gotham City Sirens being my least favorite and obviously forgettable, and then next Batman not really moving much.
Yeah, it's when I started reading the Batgirls one, I was like, oh my God, Kat's gonna hate this. I can't wait to talk about it. And then when I got to the end, it's like, okay, she'll be okay.
It definitely redeemed itself at the end, towards the end of that story, because I was the same way. I was kind of like, oh wow, this is not good at all. Yeah. You know, and then it got better as it went along. So I was happy with that one. Next Batman, I mean, it's not a bad story. It's just it is. It's kind of, again, it's another story that's just there. You know, he's basically trying to solve this case of this missing girl, this girl that got murdered. And
the parents are murdered somewhere else. Yeah.
It's like killing them is not the right thing to do. And then obviously you get like the magistrate shows up there at the end of the book, and that's kind of that, you know. It's fine. It's just, it's nothing that's blowing you out of the water, right? So I think the thing when it comes to a lot of these books. So
the Gotham City Sirens, when it's like, okay, they're replacing Harley with a robot for Girls' Night Out, and they look way younger than they should in a futurist book.
And it also wasn't even fun. Like, if you want
it
to night out, you want something like really energetic, but it's just like, I was bored. It was just so bored and felt fillerish. And yeah, the future state books are really hard to review. I'll keep saying it's just really hard to review.
All right. So we talked about Immortal Wonder Woman, and we're kind of all over the place with that one too. Superman Worlds of War.
Oh my God.
So when it came to this one, I was all excited about it because it's like, oh man, it's going to be like freaking Planet Hulk. And instead we get the whole story about these kids going, Superman's got these cool ass powers. He's could have gone here, and then he's could have gone to this place. No, he's some alien form that's gone to all these different worlds. And I was like, oh my God. And then finally you get what you want to see at the last flipping page.
Yeah, exactly.
The exposition was so much. And like, I like the idea of the POV girl of like saying, oh, but like Clark Kent was my hero. Like, that was cute. But it's just like, if this was a Superman book we've had 50 issues of, I'd be okay with an issue like this. Maybe not. Honestly, I still probably would be a little bored. But like, yeah, you're sold on World War Hulk, and then you get that in the last page, and you're like, one more issue. And then you also have all these backup stories that I didn't care about. I'm like, why couldn't we just see the rest of the Superman story instead?
The one thing I will say about the backup stories is that I appreciated that they actually tied into the war world thing. At least they made some kind of effort. But Miracle Man, it was just a fraction better than the first installment. Midnighter was okay, but again, without the context, you don't really care about it because you want to see Superman. And when I read all that, I was just like you, Mike. I was like, oh my God, I was so bored.
Yeah. The one thing I'm hoping for with Superman, now that we got to that point, maybe now we'll actually see that particular part of the story.
Only for one issue, which kind of sucks, you spent your whole first issue not telling that story.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So that was disappointing because I was really looking forward to that type of story.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Which ones are you guys going to drop from that list? Because I'm probably going to drop Catwoman. I'm sorry.
Probably, I don't know. I'm on the fence of like still trying to say, let me read these and see where they all finish up. Yeah. I'm kind of on the fence with that.
The only one I'd be tempted to is Superman, but if it is going to be the full story of that, I kind of want to see it. So
I was also going to drop Immortal Wonder Woman. So I don't know. We'll see how the weeks go and like how I'm feeling. But there's a couple of issue 2s I don't think I want.
Come on, Cora Zor-El, man, you gotta pick that one up.
No, that's definitely one I'm not getting.
No, that one I'm not. That's Swamp Thing.
See how that one ends.
I don't need to see how that ends. I want to see how Batman Catwoman ends before I want to see how Superwoman ends.
All right, so we talked about Nightwing, Catwoman, and Shazam. So we talked about all of those. All right, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to pass it along to Mr. Brant Fowler, and we're going to talk about those most anticipated books.
Yeah. So we're including books, DC books that came out today in this. So just so everybody knows, so don't spoil them. We talk about those next week. But yeah, since we're on Future State, and that's the majority of our anticipated ones this week, we'll just go ahead and talk about those. This time it's we got another number 2 with Dark Detective number 2. Which I enjoyed that first issue. I think we all did.
Me too. Right? Yeah, that's probably the one I'm second most excited for this week.
That was my favorite. That and Justice League are my 2 favorite Future State books. So I'm definitely on board with Dark Detective.
Justice League is definitely my number 1. Dark Detective's in my top 5 for sure.
Yeah, Justice League was really good too, though. I agree. All right, so we got the rest of them are number 1s. We got Batman Superman number 1.
Who even is the Batman Superman? Honestly, I haven't even looked to see.
I didn't look at that one either.
You know which Batman it is?
I don't know.
Look at the costume.
I gotta look it up.
Tell by the costume.
Tim. No, is it Tim? I don't know who this is. Let's see. I can't tell.
Does Batman have a spray-painted Batman on his chest?
Bruce, I think. Yeah, no, it's Bruce, which is so weird. Okay, so it's regular Superman and regular Bruce.
Is it really?
Okay. That's so weird. I don't even. Yeah, I'm not excited for that. I'm like, I've seen it so many times and I've dropped it so many times.
Yeah, he calls in Superman for help with Gotham. Okay, that's that's original.
Doesn't sound great. Yeah.
All right, so we got Suicide Squad #1, which I know we've been curious about this one because
I'm interested in the new direction for sure.
Yeah, exactly, and it's like Amanda Waller's back, and the squad goes after her for some reason, and I'm curious to see what they do with it because it's last time we saw Suicide Squad, they were no more. So
the characters look weird too.
Yeah. All the characters in Future State look weird, though. Most of them.
That's true.
We got Superman versus Imperious Lex.
I am not excited for this.
I'm not excited
either, man. I look at that cover and I'm like, this is a big mistake.
Yeah. This looks like, and he's old too, right? Are they all old?
I think it's just his art.
And it's like, he's like ruling a planet or something, right?
Does not sound up my alley.
Right. Yeah. Aquaman, I thought looked kind of interesting because it's focused on Jackson and him like being a mentor for Andy.
I'm most excited for this after Justice League because I really like Andy in Justice League, and I love seeing new characters. Like it's again Batman, Superman. Like I've seen that before. Like I don't know Andy. I want to learn more about her. We don't really get to see much of Jackson. I love to see more of him. So I'm actually pretty interested in this. You guys know I'm not an Aquaman fan by any means, so that means a lot.
This is gonna be dumb. This is gonna be like this is gonna be a Little Mermaid. This is what that's gonna be.
And I'll love it.
They're gonna be like, yeah, I know you would love it. It's like your favorite movie.
Yeah, I love Little Mermaid.
But I don't know, man. I see that cover and I'm like,
It's gonna be an interesting Future State week for sure.
Just because I like Andy in the Justice League now doesn't mean I'm gonna like young Andy.
That's true.
That's also true. She's not an adult, which will be interesting. I liked her because she was kind of mature, and I liked her relationship with Jess. I thought that was really interesting. So I kind of forgot that she's gonna be younger here.
Mm-hmm.
So a little worrisome. Okay. Damn it.
You're giving cat paws now.
Yeah.
I made Cat think.
Yep.
I don't like when comics deal. I mean, obviously it has to happen, but I don't love when comics deals with like 10-year-old kids because it's like kind of hard to write them uniquely. So we'll see.
But you love John Kent.
I love John.
All right, so then we got Legion of Superheroes, which is still written by Bendis, right?
I'm not. This is something I'm so least excited for. This is kind of like a Swamp Thing for me. Like I never would have picked this up if it wasn't that we were picking everything up.
Right.
Yeah. Now Brant, you mentioned this to us earlier. Is the Brian Michael Bendis thing true or is it not?
I guess we could talk about it just to say it is a rumor. This is not confirmed. This is not news. Like we don't love spreading, but because people have been talking about it, there's been chat that Bendis is not an exclusive writer anymore, which makes sense because it seems like that's the direction DC was going, that they wouldn't have any exclusive writers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be doing stuff outside of DC anytime soon. It just means that he's not exclusive to them, if it is true. So.
If it is true, he could come back to Marvel and write stuff for Marvel too.
I don't know if I want to see that because, like, I feel like he's written every character under the sun right now, and that's nothing against it. I think he really wrote some great Marvel stuff, but like, I like the idea he was going to DC, and he is writing Justice League, so that's cool.
Yeah, I would rather see him go back to creator owned if he was going to do something else.
Yeah, or even like build up Wonder Comics more. Like if he's taking more of an editorial position, I really enjoyed Wonder Comics. So I like to see more from that. Serenity put me in check and mate here, but Power Pack Cat, that is true. Power Pack is an exception to the young heroes.
That's true.
I think it's more because there's a lot of characters and they're also family, so that's cool. But yeah, you did get me checkmate on that. They are the exception.
All right, so moving on to some other books. I just want to mention this briefly. Firefly number 25, only because I haven't been reading it lately, but this seems like it might be a jumping on point. It's a time jump, and there's new characters introduced. So if you're a Firefly fan, you might want to check this one out with issue 25.
We do have a comment from Gore I do want to read. I don't know the audience for Future State. Local shop owners haven't been impressed by sales. Older readers, the primary customers, aren't buying many of them except for the specs. And then it hasn't brought new readers, or especially younger readers. Like I said, you could say what you're gonna say.
No, go ahead.
I lost my spot, but no, it's cool. I think that, like I said before, it's just this transition period. I think they needed the 2 months just to figure it all out. And I think most of it was planned. There was probably a lot of money in it. And they're like, okay, let's just take this out. And then we're just going to do our other stuff after. And, there are some characters they introduced, like, again, Tim and Yara. But I don't see a lot of this actually converting.
Yeah, and I also don't think this was intended to be new reader friendly, because it's definitely not. I think it was just like basically a what if thing in a way. I don't see a lot of it continuing either. I don't know where they're going to go or how they're going to transition, because it's not like a clean transition. Like you said, it's all over the place. Yeah, that's all I was going to say.
And I thought it sold well because they had some second printings, at least for that first week, unless maybe it's not as well for these other weeks.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. All right, so we've got X-Men number 17 that, Mike, you wanted to talk about.
He might be, yeah.
Yeah, he's... Okay, so we'll go to Captain Marvel. I know we all wanted to talk about that one. It's issue 25, so it's a big issue for Captain Marvel, but I don't know what the plot of this issue is. I forgot to look at this one.
It's probably the continuation of that.
Continuation, yeah.
Yeah, which I'm not.
Hopefully it's the finale.
Well, I think the new costume is coming out in March, so it's probably... Are we in February? We'll be in February. Are we? Nope, we're still in January. So we have 2.
January.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, it will be in February? No. So we have 2 more, I guess.
Okay. So it could be an end and then they do a filler issue. Who knows? We'll see. But I haven't loved this arc either. But last issue was better. It was fun, I think, if I remember correctly.
I don't remember that, but I'm
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just trying to be positive. I don't know. Then Daredevil number 26 is the last book we had to talk about, and I'm not reading Daredevil, so go ahead.
Yeah, no, I picked it up from the last issue because of Elektra, and I enjoyed it a lot. So I'm getting issue 26, and hopefully it's as new reader friendly. So yeah, you are reading it, right?
I forgot I read issue 25. Yeah, you're totally right.
Unless you're not getting issue 26, or you're not going to get it.
Now that you mention it, I probably will, because I really did like that last issue. I forgot. I completely blanked that out. So yeah, I guess we'll all be reading Daredevil.
We're all reading Daredevil. It's a weird week because I feel like a lot's coming out.
Yeah.
Saw in the most anticipated. I don't know how it's going to turn out. I hope I like some books this coming week.
Yeah, there's a lot of indie books coming out this week. I just don't know how I feel about a lot of them. It's a lot of unknown
issue 1s. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of unknown properties. So
I don't think I'm getting any of them. I don't think there's any of those issue 1s that are like, yeah, that seems cool. So not any indies this coming week.
There were a couple from Scout that are by people that I know, so I kind of want to support them, but I don't know much about them. So yeah, it's that kind of thing. So we'll see. Elektra as Daredevil is cool, Black Knight said. Daredevil in gel and his full costume is kind of dumb.
That's true. But Elektra being Daredevil is all that matters, so that's okay. But yeah, we'll see how next week turns out for sure. We're gonna plug the Kickstarter again as we wait for Mike to end the show. So let's screen share the Kickstarter. Last I checked, we were one backer away from 40, so it'd be greatly appreciated. Yeah, it'd be greatly appreciated. We could get 40 backers tonight. That would be really amazing.
Yeah, if you'd like 9 digital comics for $1, Go be our 40th backer.
We'll show you the digital comics. They're all varieties. So if you,
Yeah,
I'm sure you'll find a favorite there. There at least one favorite because, like I said, there's so many different genres.
yeah, and you do get those with any tier.
Mhm.
That $1 and above, you get those books. So if you want to back it at a higher level, you'll still get those.
Yeah, and then you have opportunity to get a print, which we showed the color version before, and I'm sure we'll have the color version on the Kickstarter soon, signed by all of us, and that's only for $15. So if you want to just support the podcast, and also this is the reason we're doing this is to get an audio version of the podcast, to get a more professional version of it, to get the best product out there for you guys, and also for you guys to be part of the podcast and be part of the show and have opportunity to do that. You can recommend single issues for us, so that's pretty cool. So any book you want us to read, single issues. It could be an old book, it could be something that came out that week, just anything for that. And then for a graphic novel, you could also do as well, because sometimes you have a single issue, you're like, no, you don't get the full story unless you read the full trade. So you can also read a graphic novel or something that is a complete story because it's really a graphic novel. You can have an opportunity to go on the show, which is pretty cool as well. You could sponsor the podcast. So yeah, there's a lot here. And again, we're only one backer away, and we really would appreciate the support.
Yeah, and we do have, like I mentioned earlier, we got some other surprises that'll pop up during the campaign. Maybe some other reward tiers, different things like that. So stay tuned.
And you'll have your name on the bottom there for as long as we're live, if you guys support.
Yeah. So, Mike, real quick, we talked about Captain Marvel and Daredevil while you were gone.
Okay, so Captain Marvel has been a okay story arc. It had to continue with that that story that they did a long time ago, and they're still dealing with that now. And it has like a Namor character in there. So
Yeah.
I'm sure, Kat, that's not your favorite. What's going on?
No, yeah, that I remember that cliffhanger. I'm like,
yeah, but I thought it was kind of cool, like how he kept her captive, Elektra. Not Elektra. Oh my God, what's her name?
in Captain Marvel, I don't even remember honestly who was held captive. Emma Frost was involved.
He was using her as a power source. Oh my God, I can't think of her.
I can't think of her name either.
I remember.
Blonde hair.
Oh, Magic.
Magic.
Oh, Magic was in the book. Oh.
Yeah.
So now Kat likes it.
Yeah, I do like Magic. And also like Kelly Thompson writing Magic. I do want to answer this question real quick. So Booster, the name asks, where would we find the podcast? The Kickstarter was kind of confusing. So it'll be on iTunes. It'll be on all places you could find podcasts. It'll be on Spotify. And we're starting that in March, I believe. Yeah. So the audio version of the podcast will be in all those places. We'll have links when those are available, which again will be March. And it's this podcast. So if you ever want to watch it live, you could also still watch it live here.
Yeah, so the audio version is going to be cleaned up. It's going to have music, bumpers and intros and outros and all that thing, and cut out all our dead air and that fun stuff. So it's just we want to get it out to more people and have more places for people to find it.
Right. We'll have timestamps. We forgot to mention that. So we took the recommendation of a commenter from last week. We were like, oh, we'd love to have this timestamp. And now for three of us, we also all have jobs and all the other stuff we have to do throughout the week, so it's hard to like spend the time to listen to the podcast again, but we would be hiring somebody to edit and also timestamp like the big news pieces and the big books we talk about. So if you want to listen to it later and you only want to listen to specific stuff, you could listen to the audio and get that.
That's the whole reason why we obviously are looking for the money for this, so we can do all that, so we can have someone else do it for us, because we don't have the time to actually do it, and then we have the professionals to do it to make it sound even better. So but hopefully you'll still watch us live once it does go to the audio version, but obviously you can check out both ways. Just want to expand out. We want to reach out to other people and let us know that we exist in the podcast world, but hopefully they'll also get to watch us on YouTube as well. Yeah. So it works both ways.
And another reason, we've talked about all the opportunities you can be part of the show through this Kickstarter, and I know some of them are a little expensive and everything, but we just really wanted to create ways for you guys to be a part, a bigger part of the show. And we have a tight format, so we can't always bring people on and that kind of thing. We haven't done that in quite a bit, actually. So we wanted to open up that opportunity for you guys to actually be on the show and be part of it.
Yeah, that will be fun.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's all we have, right? Anything going on with you guys before we close out the show?
I mean, I think the Kickstarter is definitely the biggest thing going on.
That's the kicker.
Yeah,
that is the kicker. Also, I mean, obviously, Best Comics of the Week will be out tomorrow, and I will be doing a top 5 future state book. So my top 5, because all the issue 1s came out except one of them. I think there's one in February, but I'm not waiting for one issue. So I'm going to talk about what my favorites are after I read the books from this week.
Cool. Nothing for me this week.
All right. And then I got my top 10 comic book covers of the week. If you guys want to go ahead on Comic Book Corner 2.0, unless you're already on there watching this show now, you can vote on your favorite comic book cover of the week. Today, I also dropped the top 10 most anticipated comic books for next week. That's February 3rd, 2021. And then look for the comic book haul. That will be up tomorrow. And then also on Sunday, I actually did a top 10 most anticipated Marvel comic books that are coming out in April. That's based off of the solicits that just dropped from Marvel Comics. So you guys can check that out. That came out, I think, on Sunday. So that's all the content from me. That's all the content from everybody else on here. So guys, thank you.
We do have one question before we go,
Yeah.
Mike. One question. Bavarian X, do you think you'll ever put the current episodes on the podcast in the future each week? So the ones that are going up now, I don't think will be on the podcast for now. Depends on how well the Kickstarter does, I would say. I say never, but that's not the plan as of right now, because just the budget of what we have is only going to pay for the episodes we're going to have for the future.
Yeah. But when we, if you back the Kickstarter, when you get the flash drive or the digital pack, we are putting bonus content in there. So some of, we'll choose some select stuff from the past, maybe, and maybe do some extra stuff. We haven't really discussed exactly what that is, but we're going to do something special.
You could always send a message to us and say what your favorite episode was, and maybe we could, put that in to it. So let us know what you want for sure. Now we'll wrap up. Sorry, I thought that was an important question. So.
Oh, it was.
So yes, now we'll wrap it up. So guys, thank you so much for watching. The participation was great. Remember, guys, if you like this, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to either channel, Comic Book Weekly now, right, on the YouTube channel, or Comic Book Corner 2.0. Follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, of course, YouTube. Hit the bell. Do all that great stuff. Again, follow the Kickstarter. Support the Kickstarter. Back the Kickstarter. Do whatever it is at the Kickstarter. You guys, thank you so much for your support. We love you. And until next week, this is all of us signing off. Doing the wave. Take care, everyone. Good night.